Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbadger.com, out here for another gear review, and today, talking optics, this guy right here, which is the 5x25x56 MPO, Match Precision Optic by Brownells. We'll go ahead and start with the what. What is it? Match Precision Optic. Basically made kind of for PRS, and lending itself to, can't remember the name of the division in PRS, production division, I think that's what it is. We're basically capped with how much your optic in your gun and all the other stuff can cost. So price-wise, about $1,000. I think there's definitely some value there. Again, 5x25, we're going from 5x all the way around to 25 and 56, 5x5 or 5 to 25 by 56. So 56 millimeter objective lens as well. And some kind of nice features built in too. Over here, you can actually remove this battery cover and then illumination. You have 6 different settings and an off in between each one. Illuminated reticle uses one 2032 battery. Then on top of that, kind of a lot of other just kind of really well thought out options when it comes to shooting precision rifle. And on top of all of it too, 34 millimeter tube. Definitely allows a lot of light in right here, sitting in a ScalarWorks mount. But I'll go over kind of some of the stats for you. As far as dimensions, optic is approximately 15.4 inches. Your eye relief is about 3.7 inches, and weight 37 ounces. All of your adjustments are in 0.1 mil rad, nice and distinct. And then under here, this is capped for your windage. You can obviously take that off. Flipping over to this side, we have 2 knobs, well, into each other. This one right here, you can adjust your parallax, while as this one right here, you can adjust for your illumination of the reticle. And speaking of the reticle, first focal plane, meaning as you move between, say, 25 and 5 power, the reticle is getting bigger or smaller, but all your holds are going to stay the same inside of there. And you can, of course, adjust this for your eye, and it actually comes with a sunshade if that's where you're going to be shooting. With that said, what has been my experience with this optic? Well, it got shot all the way across the country on the 2021 Coast to Coast tour. This was mounted on a custom bolt gun made by Sawtooth Rifles, Matt, you're over there. And yeah, people shot this thing all the way across the country. Did a great job. And then my experience beyond that, I actually took this out and I was like, I'm gonna go shoot a precision rifle course with this. So I had it mounted, zeroed on my SR-25, went out there to a 2-day precision rifle course with Bill Rapier, VampTech Shooting, and it did not go well. Couple things. One, biggest factor I ran into straight off the bat was ammo wasn't grouping the way it should. Some kind of like knockoff 118 LR I was shooting, and that was disappointing. And then in addition to that, with my zero, I was basically running out of elevation. But running out of elevation you can deal with. A gun not grouping with the ammo it had, can't really deal with that. So fortunately, I had an extra gun. And I ended up pulling this guy out, which is my, if I can not drop it, or bang it up too bad, my Radian Model 1, 17.5-inch barrel, the Q jumbo shrimp on there, I guess. And then, yeah, I basically pulled these optics off, threw this guy on here, and proceeded to zero it, and then chronograph it. I was shooting some like 55 grain soft point boat tail, coming out of here at like 3150 or something like that. Put the stuff into my ballistic app and started shooting. This thing did a great job. I would figure out whatever target I was going to shoot at, go ahead, dial this thing up, get my hits. Easy day. And yeah, being able to basically work through with this optic. This did a great job for me there. I will say once I pushed out to, I want to say 700 maybe, then I had to start holding in the optic, but it actually kind of lends itself to that. The reticle itself rather. The scope right here uses Brownells non-obscuring milling reticle. What does that mean? Well, you basically have kind of Christmas tree type reticle. So you have wind holds and all your different holds for elevation and stuff inside the reticle. But the other thing that's really nice is basically that main steady line going up and down. There's space inside of it, albeit a little bit of space, but there's space. So it's non-obscuring. So if you're shooting at a low probability target at distance, especially if you're having to hold, basically once you have it over the target, you can still actually see the target rather than have just like a steady line like cutting through the target, maybe obscuring it. So yeah, I ended up actually pretty cool reticle, but I ended up taking this back out to Rock Lake Rifle Range with that same Radian Model 1 and stretching that thing back out. I could basically own anything to 700. Like 709 was, I think, one of the targets, just one after another, easy day. Once started to get past that, like 800, 900, 1,000, basically that little 55 grain soft point, it was getting beat up. Even by the little bit of wind that was out there, it was getting beat up. Probably do better with some, I don't know, 75 grain, something like that, some heavier 5.56. But this ended up doing a good job. Like I said, once I got out to around 700 or so, I had to start holding basically down in the reticle. And when I tried shooting 1,000, I had to hold like crazy low. It's like 18 mils or something. And so, as I mentioned, ran out of elevation. Is that a detractor? For me it was, but it was also kind of bad on me because this is definitely a 0 MOA base. So if you are going to use this, I would definitely encourage you to get whatever MOA you're going to end up needing. I want to say there's maybe 15 mils of travel or something like that. But by the time I have this thing zeroed, I think I stop out, 7.5 mils up is as far as I can go. So that's the thing. But if you end up with some sort of, go back to zero. Zero stops at 0.5 mils under, which is pretty handy. But as I mentioned, yeah, I think somewhere between 12 or 15 mils as far as what you're going to get out of this thing. But if you can get it up elevated to begin with, then you can alleviate actually running out of elevation when you're shooting a distance. Something else worth noting is the Japanese glass and the coatings. Actually really nice. Well, I told you kind of some of the different ways I've used it. Also ended up with this mounted on that Radian Model 1 and my son Jad and I down there feral pig hunting in Texas. While we did not end up taking any feral pigs during the day through our day optics, basically got after them with our lasers once the night set in. But being able to actually look through this thing all the way into those twilight hours, really good job of light transmission coming through this glass. Who do I think this optic would be good for? Honestly, anyone looking for a really solid first focal plane scope with 5 to 25 power and nice, really clear glass. In addition to that reticle I mentioned, non-obscuring, milling reticle, it does a good job. But my caveat with any optic is figure out what reticle you like and buy an optic that has that reticle. Because if there's this really cool reticle, but you never learn how to use it or don't really like it, then who cares about the glass or anything else? Overall though, I think honestly it's really solid. Whether you're picking it up for that whatever class of PRS, we gotta be under $2,500 cap, whatever it may be, or you just want to kind of throw it on a gun, see how far you can reach out, or even for hunting. I know a lot of people just hunt with duplex reticles, and if that's your thing, that's cool. Personally, I like actually figuring out what my data is and being able to laze something, know how far it is, dial and hold exactly there. So I'm not well, pretty sure I have a 200 yard zero, so it should hit somewhere in here out to 400 yards or whatever. This takes guesswork out of that once you learn how to actually use your optic. Again, pretty solid scope and definitely a value for about $1,000. You can find them directly through Brownells. And if you appreciate my content and would like to support it, I greatly appreciate it. One of the ways is by supporting me directly through Patreon. Little as $1 a month helps me go out, create more content for you, and usually get early access to videos, as well as some exclusive content. And if you have questions, happy to answer them over there. We have active Discord, a lot of great people over there. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.